Okay, folks, it's time for your second revision of the semester. Revision is an essential skill required by all English 1101 students and one that will serve you well throughout your college career. Just as you did with the first revision, you can select any of the 6 papers you've written to revise. Then you will develop that paper, making it longer, and revise it, making it better. With revision, the goal is to take one paper and help it reach its full potential. What potential means may be different for each of you. Some of you may want to pick the paper that needs the most work, and so that the worst may be your best. For others, picking the best paper that you can take further and deeper would be your best choice. It's really up to you. You can even take a stab at revising the paper you've already revised this semester earlier. Go for it. That's fine. You can revise your first revision. And if your paper was already 5 pages long, you can try revising it by removing clutter. This is something we'll talk about later on in this week. If you do that, I do want to know about it ahead of time, though, so I can, when I'm graded, I know that that's what you were working on. Regardless, I'm trying to give you the full experience of the writing process, which is very rarely linear. It's sometimes chaotic and involves redoing earlier work. It's all about getting things right. As you work on revising and developing your paper, please draw upon all the skills we've been practicing this semester. Use the tools in your writer's toolbox, as well as others we have touched upon. Note that the revision should be 4 to 5 pages in length, which is at least double what you turned in for the first draft. This requirement is based on state mandates for the course, so it is very important. Also, remember to turn in 2 files, one of the revision and one of the original. Please be sure they are clearly marked in the file name and on the document. As with your first revision, half the total points go towards your revision efforts. This assignment is less about the final product and more about you embracing the challenge of making real changes to your paper and taking it to the next level, regardless of the potential risks involved. So with that in mind, your invention activity this week is to revise from scratch. How about we just revise from scratch? This means literally putting aside your original draft, opening a new file, taking out a fresh sheet of paper, and starting over without looking at it. But let's talk a little more about what this whole from scratch idea means. When we make something from scratch, we create something, we make something without any ingredients or materials prepared ahead of time. I always think about the argument between homemade cranberry sauce and canned cranberry sauce. By the way, I love both, so if you want to make either of them for me, I will eat them. In cooking, to make something from scratch, it means that we only use the most basic ingredients with nothing pre-made ahead of time. What's interesting about this is that the scratch in from scratch originally referred to the starting line of a race scratched into the ground, from which all runners would be starting without a head start. So for us, to revise from scratch is starting over with nothing but an idea. Yep, a blank page. Why? I'm sure it's tempting to ignore this advice and fib it. That's fine, but you should know this can be a highly effective revision activity. I learned it from personal experience after having lost many months of work on my master's thesis and having to start from scratch. It's hard to start over, but often it's for the best. Because you have done it once, you've done all sorts of problem solving and are heading into the task with a much more experienced perspective. It's much easier to focus on the sweet stuff because you have a clearer vision than you did the first time through. It doesn't work every time, but it works for enough people that it's worth trying. Plus, once you've started from scratch and survived, it helps you trust yourself in the future. And just so you know, you don't actually have to throw anything away. Just set it aside. Put it in another room. Put it on a file somewhere deep in the recesses of your computer so that you're not tempted to pull it out. The main idea here is that we want to escape the tyranny of the work completed. Completed work can be a tyrant, not allowing us to see other possibilities, and it makes us blind. Escaping that blindness can be liberating. This is especially true if you already got an A on everything you've already written. Maybe you don't want to rock the boat, but shaking things up might be exactly what you need to get to the next level. It might pay off. I'm challenging you to step outside of your comfort zone. You can find the complete instructions on Moodle for more guidance. Okay, enough talking, Elise. Time to get to work. Happy revising, friends.